Well, hi, friends, and welcome to The Balancing Act. I'm Syleste Rodriguez. This is where we hope to bring you insightful, really important conversations about how we balance all the crazy things that we deal with in life. And we're so glad that you're with us. So thank you for joining us. Joining us today as well, and I'm so glad that she's here, is Shannon Jay Dougherty. And good day to you, my friend.
Thank you for having me. So exciting.
I almost said good morning because I usually work mornings,
That's
but
okay.
It's not morning anymore. But you are a mother, a career woman, and you are helping other women rise. And I was trying to think of a really great way to describe what you do, because what you do is so important. We've known each other for a long time, and what you do has evolved over time as well.
It has. What started out with I like to say, I'm not just a health coach or a macro coach, but what has evolved, what I found working with women in the health and wellness space, is not only were women coming to me because they wanted to drop fat and feel good in their jeans, but what evolved is how they were feeling mentally, physically, and emotionally, that I saw there was a need to do more than just, here's your macros, here's how you drop fat, but let's take care of, great, I want to feel better in all areas, a more holistic approach.
Yeah, so it started as kind of like health-wise, like you mentioned, and then it evolved to something more. And when did that happen?
About 3 years ago, I found women were just spiraling out of control. So they were at a place of, great, my jeans fit, but I don't feel good in other areas of my life. So I dove deep into, all right, let's peel back the layers. Let's dive into the areas where maybe you're needing to set more boundaries, which is key, especially for moms with to-do lists a mile long.
Thank you.
Saying yes to all the things that we think we have to do, but we're not even enjoying them. Putting our kids in 10,000 sports and they're exhausted, everyone's exhausted,
We're sleeping in cars.
Yeah.
Just to catch
sleeping
a little bit
in
of
cars, going through drive-through, just not prioritizing what really matters. Never sitting down to the dinner table, just like go, because we think that's what we have to do. Mm-hmm. So just pulling back a little bit and finding peace in the calm, in the quiet, which is something that I did on a personal level, and realizing, okay, this is the need that these women are wanting.
Yeah.
And it's almost embarrassing. I found women are embarrassed to say, I want to slow down, I need to slow down because what the public is saying or what the social media, posts are saying, do more, be more, but really doing less and coming into a different place of peace.
Yeah. And you mentioned something about social media, and I feel like there is something about social media that makes you feel like you're not doing enough. And it is a highlight reel. Like when we look, and I try to remind our kids about that, but you have a big social media following as well. And to give all of you kind of background on when we met, Shannon was coming in with her friend Kim, and you were doing Fit Mom Living, and you were doing these segments on health and wellness with women and physical exercise, and then eating as well. And then that all kind of has developed. And I think how you are helping women now, even on social media, you do a lot to inspire us to go, you know what, ignore what they're saying, and you need to focus on what you need.
It's so easy to follow the crowd. And a lot of these women don't have the confidence they need to speak up for what they want to do. And I see it day in, day out, especially on social media. It's like you said, the highlight reel, and then being the keyboard warrior behind the screen and behind the scenes of like talking the big game, but then you're shriveling and shrinking and have no self-confidence, and you don't even know who you are. So that whole identity reset of, all right, what is going on in your world? Let's take a pause of, what you think you need to do, because we think we should. And I say, don't shit on yourself. You feel like you should be doing all these things. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head on your pillow at night, like, are you proud of how you showed up? Are you just shoving a bunch of stuff on your to-do list?
Yeah.
And you don't feel good, nothing fits, and you're in chaos mode.
Yeah, and y'all just caught her almost say the S word, but in full transparency, life gets crazy, and sometimes you got to do it, and you do it too in your social media. I used to say you just got to go crazy and let it all out. When you are on social media, how do you use that to inspire people who follow you?
I feel like people are not authentic, and they're hiding behind what they really want to say, what they really want to do, how they really want to show up. So I talk a lot about power pieces and your own authentic self. There are so many people that are putting on this facade of like who they really are, and at the heart of it, they're crumbling inside. They're putting on this big scene, keeping up with the Joneses, I talk about often, like what everyone else is doing. They're so worried about keeping up, all the fancy clothes and cars and the trends, but that's not them. And so I just want to be as unapologetic as possible on there, showing up as like, this is me, this is raw, this is real life. I can be working out in my garage in barely like my sweats or, braless, like I like to say. Or I could be, in a ball gown going to an event, but showing both sides and not hiding from the reality. That's all my reality.
So how do you balance it all? Give us an idea, because you do this as well. You kind of show us on your different platforms. Let's say you wake up first thing in the morning and you travel for work, right? You're a career woman, you travel for work. You're like, I got 15 minutes and that's all I got.
So I take my same habits with me at home, on the road. When I am home, I set my alarm, I wake up early, I have my coffee, I call it my me time in silence when I've been doing it since my kids were little, like quiet silence. Even my husband wakes up, I'm like, oh, it's my time. I read a book, I do some journaling, very ritual with my morning routine. Go into my garage, I do a quick little workout. I used to be a member of a gym, but I realized, you know what, I'm saving time. And then I like to walk, I call it sprinkling steps throughout my day. So my goals in the past used to be run, and it's now sprinkling steps. So when I travel, I make it a point, I always set my alarm at least an hour early to start my day, because I hate being rushed. And when you take care of yourself, you hear it often, when you put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then anything that comes your way, you navigate it and balance it a little bit differently.
And there was something else that you do as well when you are traveling, whether or not it's here in the city, right, in the Phoenix metro area, and you're in the car, you pack a lunch, which I love this idea, because for all of you, parents out there, or if you're on the go, you don't want to eat fast food every meal. Like, you really, and it's not good for you.
It saves your waistline, it saves your budget, it saves time in general, and I will either pack leftovers from the night before. I never leave the home without food. And I've trained my kids, you never leave the house without water, clearly in Arizona,
right,
or some type of snack. And it's just become part of my routine. So when I travel, I pack my protein powders, I pack my food first, and I make my own little convenience store in my hotel room in one of the drawers. And I have my granola bars. I have everything set up so I don't have to even, that's where I save on time in the morning. I'm not going to the buffet breakfast. I'm not having to find breakfast. Like, it's ready for me, and I've saved 15, 20 minutes plus money and my waistline, knowing I'm just going to carry that same routine over. So when we say we don't have time and we're sitting there aimlessly scrolling on social media,
right, we
have time.
But I love the fact that you're so transparent about it, because you'll be in your car, you open up your lunchbox, you're digging through what you have, and those like tuna packets that are like on sale for like $1 at the store. Yes. I bought a bunch of them, and I saw you kind of ripping them open, and it was just like an easy thing to eat, obviously alone. Yes. Those tuna packets.
And I do not, there was something that went viral of people, there was a woman on an airplane opening a tuna packet, and they couldn't see the face, and everyone's like, is this you, Shannon? And that's the one place I will not open a tuna packet. But yes, I have my tuna, I have my mayo, mustard, my relish. I carry, like, I'm prepared. I like to talk about the 7 P's of being prepared, right? Because then if prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. If you're not performing, and if you are feeling like, ooh, I'm stuck, the 7 P's, like, planning ahead in all areas of life, not just food, but fitness, just shifting your schedule and creating your own toolkit. I tell my clients, having your own toolkit of, all right, what boundaries am I going to set? What am I going to prepare my day with? How am I going to set the tone for when XYZ happens and I'm going out to dinner and I'm lost and confused and feel like I'm, not able to enjoy myself? So how are you going to show up, from what you wear to how you speak to yourself to how you balance life and fearlessly maneuver life?
Yeah.
Is so important. It just gives you that sense of confidence, whether you know it or not, and then clearly getting dressed out of your sweats and feeling good.
Yeah.
I love my sweats.
I know. But you love to dress up too. I know you. You know what I mean?
You will never regret getting dressed. That just sets the tone. That's what you can control. You can control bringing your food with you. You can control getting dressed.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be going anywhere fancy.
No.
I work from home most days.
You just gotta get ready and make it happen.
Throw a hat on.
Yeah, no kidding. You brought up something interesting as well. When you go out to eat, you mentioned that one of your videos on social media was you actually eat a little bit of protein before you go.
Yes, I always say arrive with your belly half full, because how many times have you gone to dinner and the bread basket's there and you're so excited to go to this restaurant, you're ravenous, and then you get there and you just like engulf the whole basket.
But that's so backwards from what
you would think.
Yes.
But then you can sit back and enjoy, like, having 20 grams of protein, have a half a protein shake, some deli turkey, whatever it may
having
be.
a tuna packet
in the car
with your husband or significant other.
And you have tuna breath. I mean, it's fantastic. But I guarantee you'll order differently, you'll show up differently. You're owning your own confidence, walking into that restaurant saying, I'm treating myself with respect. And people think, oh, self-respect. How you set the tone for your day, everything you do in your day, from working out to speaking to yourself to preparing for life, whatever gets thrown your way. Because as a busy mom on the go, we know that things can come up last minute. And I always say, bring more food and water than you expect, because you can be at a soccer practice for hours longer, or something can just pop up and you can complain about it, or you can say, you know what, I'm prepared. I'm going to maneuver and balance out how I'm going to do this and not complain.
Something that I found on your website was, you said, I help women become the baddest, boldest VIP version of themselves. And that exists in all of us. Yes. Men, women, children. There's that expectation of there is greatness and, something that needs to sparkle.
People are afraid to show their true colors. They're afraid to be bold. They're afraid to say, this is how I want to do things, because we feel like we need to follow the status quo and what we see, or what's cool, or people will make fun of us. Mm-hmm. But the minute you step aside and step out of that comfort zone and realize this feels really good for me and I don't care, you have to have that powerful mindset of, I don't care what others think. I'm going to do this because it feels good for me and works for my lifestyle and my family.
Somebody may be watching and they say, do you ever have hard days? Like Shannon, you're very inspirational and you bring it. But is there ever a time where you feel like you're having a difficult day?
Yes. Gosh, this is going to make me want to cry.
We got Kleenex. Dave, anybody? We have Kleenex.
I've had a lot of hard days. And what I've taken from, my hard days over the past few years is, this is how I help women. This is how I help women and men navigate life. But what I've experienced and the lessons, I try and look at everything as, what is a lesson that just came out of that? Because it could be a really hard day. I'm not one to sit on the couch. My kids know if I'm on the couch that I'm definitely down for the count and ill.
Mom needs a break.
Yes, mom needs a break. But I turn to walking. I turn to my tools and what works for me. I just know I need to be by myself, quiet time out, a mom time out, but taking time for, all right, let's regroup here. Let's figure out what's going on. And, looking at the bright light, yes, we all have our hard days. But honestly, even if I just get dressed, even if it's 4 p.m. and I'm in my sweats and feeling really cozy, I'm just going to put on something that makes me feel my power pieces. I wear them around my neck, my fingers, my wrist, their jewelry, anything. Put the word power in front of anything that you love that makes you feel powerful. And you've just turned your day upside down.
I think what you're sharing is so insightful and encouraging and inspiring. And you're a mom, a career woman. You have kind of I'll call it a side hustle, but I really do feel like it is a calling, because I feel like everything that we go through in life, I truly believe that we go through it for a reason, to be a blessing to others, to help somebody else, to give them a word of encouragement. And that's kind of what you're doing. Let's start first with the motherhood. How do you balance that? How many children do you have?
I have 2 kids. My daughter's 16 and my son's 18. And they've seen me from the time they, could pay attention, showing up for myself. And so naturally, they do the same thing. I never have had to tell them to work out, to prepare their lunch. They know how to take care of themselves because I've been their inspiration. And it's really rewarding to think that this is just passed down to them. But, it didn't happen overnight. It took, years and years of showing up and seeing someone do the same routine day in, day out.
And I think it can be a little bit refreshing in a way when your children are able to see you, kind of down in the dumps a little bit, or kind of make your way out, and then you dig yourself back up and they say, oh, mom can do this. Mom's doing it and she's doing it, and she's raw, but she's also real.
Yes, and I see them pitching in a lot more now without me saying, can you help? And they see that I'm working and doing all the things, and then maybe empty the dishwasher without me asking her. Just go the extra mile, because we're all exhausted at the end of the day. And
thank you.
Yes, I'm do I have to raise my voice? I've been really working on that over the last few years.
Oh, that's good. Is it working? Because
Yes.
I could really use some tips.
I know. The patience thing, especially with a new driver.
Oh.
It's just pulls at your heartstrings a little bit. But a lot of, they have seen me, because a few years ago I had a panic attack for the first time and I didn't know what was happening, and I was driving. So they have seen me work through just changing how I show up. And yelling was not the best thing for that. So I've had to work on that.
But sometimes it's a little therapeutic.
Oh my
I'm not going to lie.
gosh.
But take us through that moment when you went through that panic attack. You were driving at the time. How did you know it was a panic attack, and what did you do to relieve it?
So I was driving back from a beautiful weekend in Sedona with my girlfriends, and I was on the 17, and I'm driving downhill, and I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack, but I don't want to say anything because God forbid I have to pull over and
So
like
your chest was hurting,
and like
you're
I couldn't
sweating,
breathe,
or
and
like
sweating, kind of like fight or flight, or thinking what's going on. And
Yeah.
I pulled over and I was nervous, and then I'm like, I'm fine, and I tried to play it off, and then I started driving again, same thing. So my girlfriend drove, and then it happened again driving, and I couldn't drive for a while. It was very paralyzing, and I didn't want to admit that I had to like practice getting on and off the freeway and going off overpasses and the Coronado Bridge. Like that was all these things and moments that I finally said, like, I'm struggling with this. So often parents feel like they can't cry in front of their kids or they can't share these experiences, but it's one of the best things. I have talks with my daughter all the time about adult drama, things that are going on, so she can see, okay, she's a human, right? We go through this too at 16 or 15, and it's okay to struggle.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because there were days where my kids would come home and they'd say, how's your day? And they could clearly see it on my face that I had a difficult day. And I'm like, it's fine. My day was fine. And they said, well, and then I'd say, how was your day? And they're like, well, I'm not going to tell you unless you tell me. And so it was this moment of reflection for me as a parent. And I thought, you know what? I do need to be real with them and let them know what's going on. Obviously, not when they're like 3 or 5.
Right.
But as soon as they became like of age, like a tween, we don't give them enough credit that they understand a lot more and they go through a lot more than we realize.
Yes, I feel like when you hold back, and communication is key for any relationship, I say. And even when I work with women, when they're not honest to themselves or to others, and you're not honest about what you're eating or how you're talking to others or what lies, we don't want, when we're holding things in, I feel it's a piece of being dishonest when someone's asking how your day's going, like, I'm fine, because that's the easy answer,
Yes,
right? So
yeah.
just being very, it's relatable for the kids because they can pretend like, okay, mom's not this queen, although she is, and she never has problems.
Hello. So take us through, if you can.
Yes.
You went through the panic attack, and you said that was a couple of years ago.
That was a couple of years ago.
Was there a trigger?
I had 10 million things. I was coaching hundreds of women with health and wellness.
Yeah.
I had a to-do list a mile long. I had a jam-packed schedule. I was catching a red-eye flight that night. I had so many things going on. And I came to it was complete burnout, and I came to my crashing point. And I think my body was just like, not going to happen. And I had a panic. My mom had them growing up, so I knew maybe this is, and then I went to the doctor, and they gave me medication, and I said, if I can't change the way, I ended up throwing the pills down the toilet because I could not cut them in half like they wanted me to, like the little pills. And so I got really frustrated and said, I need to change how I'm showing up. I need to change my lifestyle and clear the chaos. And these are all the things that I help women do from my learning experiences. So I take them through, I know what they're going through. And
I think you brought up a good point, though, in saying that, how many women did you say?
Thousands in group settings, and then a lot in one-on-ones.
But that's a lot.
It is, and thousands over time. But taking on, the problems, which I want to help everyone. I can see their success before they do. But it came to a point where, I was taking on all of I felt like I was navigating their life and trying to navigate my own.
And so you're carrying that with you day to day. And so in terms of balancing it out, I know that you and Kim, then you stopped using the Fit Mom Living.
So we were Fit Mom Diet, actually,
okay,
together. And then we split ways just because she was no longer interested in the field, which is fantastic. We still have remained close friends, and I started Fit Mom Living. And that's where I was doing a lot of the one-on-one coaching and the group coaching. And
that has now maneuvered again.
That is now maneuvered to my name, back to my name, Shannon Jay Dougherty.
Yeah.
So this is where I help women. I wanted to keep the FML of Fit Mom Living. I help women fearlessly maneuver life, because we're all maneuvering life.
All of us.
And when we are fearful of it, then it holds us back. But giving women that confidence and that kick that they can do it, and knowing that we are all capable, like you said, we all have in us.
Yeah.
And I want to build an empire, and I am building an empire because there's a need for this. And I can see, like I said, I can see your success before I know what your possible doing in your life.
Yeah. When you are working with some of these women and you started kind of balancing everything out, now you work with how many women?
I take on about 5 to 7 one-on-one clients at a time, and then I have some mastermind groups.
So you've kind of pared it down a little bit.
Yes, I had to change how I was showing up, serving.
And it reminds me of something that someone told me, that just because you don't have to do the good thing. Like, it's a good thing to do what you want to do, but maybe it's not a good time to do what you want to do. Like, because there's a lot of things I want to do in life, but maybe it's just not a good time. But that doesn't mean it's not a good thing to do.
Right.
And so paring down to some of these groups, it gives you an opportunity to kind of like, I guess, invest a little bit more in those relationships, or maybe invest in yourself as a mother and give yourself a little bit more time to balance.
Yeah, my to-do list in my calendar used to be jam-packed, and now I can look at my weeks and I give myself a lot of space and grace of where I set my own boundaries of these 3 days I'm going to be doing calls and structure my calendar a little bit differently. I want to do more speaking engagements so I can reach the masses. But yes, really fine-tuning how I show up to serve others, because my sanity is clearly important, and to be the best help and guidance for others.
Yeah, and best version of yourself.
Yes.
So we've talked about your kids, we've talked about you, I've met your husband, we have not talked about him. Where does he fit in this whole thing?
Oh gosh, he wants nothing to do with social media. He doesn't want his picture on social media. He does not. He calls it the Insta phase. He's like, get me out. Like, he just...
Yeah, but I think it's interesting because when my husband and I were first married, there was something that our pastor who married us said. He said, make sure that the foundation of your marriage stays number one. So we made it a point to always do a date night, like every single weekend. And the kids would be angry with us at first. They're like, oh my gosh, you're going on another date. And then this is our like weekly time that we get together, because I have worked mornings most of my career, and my husband's a night owl, and so that was our time together. How do you balance what you're doing with you and the kids with your hubby?
We my daughter, my husband, and I go on evening walks. My son's usually golfing or not home, but it's our thing to do evening walks. We'll try and throw a date night in there once in a while.
The walk is kind of a date night.
But the walk, sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes we're just, it's
just about being together.
Yeah, and sometimes, something will come up in conversation, but just moving our body. We like to exercise together. Our family does, when we do travel, the boys will golf and the girls will go do things. So we try and take little trips here and there, but I honestly don't really talk about what I do. Like, I don't talk a lot about my coaching business, and it's kind of like my thing I keep to myself.
Yeah. And, I'm kind of like that with my work too, with my career. Like, I get together with Gary and we just kind of talk. I ask lots of questions. Yeah. And we talk about the meal we're eating. We talk about restaurants we want to go to, and not necessarily business or career.
I prefer not to talk about myself.
Yeah.
I want to know how everyone else, like, I don't want the light to be on me.
Yeah.
And people think that I'm a big time extrovert, and I'm really just an introvert.
Yeah, well, you're fun on social media. Totally. I was like, and I love the fact that you're just like out there. Like, you have, you're fun with your fashion. You're fun with your, how you encourage others. And we have just a couple minutes left, Shannon. So if you were to give somebody a tip out there and say, this is the maybe one or two things that you can do to kind of make life easier or help you eat better, what is it? What would you share?
I'm all about small shifts, because when we take on this massive, these extremes of I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then we set ourselves up for failure. So first and foremost, I want you to lower your expectations, because then you won't set yourself up for failure. And I want you to think about one small shift, because when we can just make one shift in our day, adding something, whether it's adding, you don't have to take anything away. Maybe it's adding fruit, maybe it's adding more protein, prioritizing protein, and showing up in a way that feels good, and having that one tool. So that shift is going to become part of your toolkit, and just making your toolkit, broadening it, figuring out what works for you. That's very powerful because it's not what your neighbor's doing or not what your best friend's doing. Like, it has to feel good for you. So moving your body, sprinkling steps. I'm going to give you more than one tip.
Okay.
Sprinkling steps.
You have 45 seconds.
Okay, sprinkling steps, moving your body, and creating a toolkit is something that you're proud of. Think about, like, look at your identity now and, like, what feels sticky and what would your best self do today, and start working towards that, because it's possible. I can see it.
Yeah. Okay, that's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, Instagram handle is
Shannon Jay Dougherty, Jay.
Okay.
And same as my website, shannonjdougherty.com.
So awesome. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so appreciate it.
Love the balancing act.
Yes. Thank you for helping us balance it all.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for watching.